someone will return your call within 3 business days. Thank you and have a great day.
At the tone, please record your message.
Hi there. I'm just going to make note that this is my call to the Office of the Workers Advisors because I am recording this call and I will be putting it on social media. This is Charlene Blake. I am the wife and the authorized representative of Dustin Blake, who has an injury file, as I'm sure you guys are all fully aware. Back in September, October of 2022, Teresa Minette was told that my husband was not having disabling symptoms, that he was not having a reoccurrence, and that the MRI was the result of the modified working duties that he was given that resulted in a permanent loss of earning capacity. No amount of discussing this in any way, shape, or form with Teresa Minette was working. She refused to force WorkplaceNL to get the information that they were saying they had that did not exist. And she continued to tell us that WorkplaceNL has their own way of determining a reoccurrence. So does that mean that they can just say disabling symptoms are happening? Is that what they're allowed to do? And she's just going to sit back and allow them to say something that's false? Because that is exactly what happened in September and October and December, or October, November, December, January, and so on with Dustin's file. I explained to her that the only reason they wanted a Form 6 was because they wanted to make a false claim on his file, which they absolutely did, because when he signed the Form 6 finally, after months of Melissa Burry keeping it on her desk, they finally moved his file to an adjudicator. It was not Charmaine Janes at that time, but it was another worker, and then it was not able to be finalized by that worker, so they moved it to Charmaine Janes. Anyway, the point right now is that when that file was finally moved, then they started and told us that they were looking to see if it was a new incident, new injury, or a reoccurrence. So regardless, these were all lies prior to that form being received. If it was already deemed a reoccurrence by Melissa Burry, how all of a sudden does signing Form 6 and being passed to an adjudicator turn it into an investigation of whether or not it's a reoccurrence or a new injury? They had absolutely no medical for either. They had no support from the employer side to show that it was an incident or even disabling symptoms. They had no medical documentation, and then we basically agreed to discontinue because the services from this office was not adequate. It wasn't even professional. It wasn't even looking at the facts of Dustin's file. I know that you guys are getting funded by WorkplaceNL through the injury fund to have these jobs. So my question to you is, are you guys actually there for the injured worker, or are you there just to keep these jobs and to keep the money in your pockets for the Newfoundland Labrador Federation of Labor? Because that is what it looks like to me. That's my opinion right now based on our experiences and the fact that we did not feel supported in any way, shape, or form because there was no proof of any medical at that time. And yet, Teresa was standing with WorkplaceNL in full force and doing absolutely nothing to ensure that the facts of the situation were being forced to be paid attention to. There was also prior issues because the unfair results that we have a very long list of was not being discussed and forced with Workplace NL through the Federation of Labor Advisors, Workers Advisors um, Department. And underneath Section 20-4, which was originally Section 19.4, and under EN 22, Merits and Justice, any unfair results causing like issues or anything that was unfair to injured workers have to be addressed. And no matter what, it wasn't addressed. It also states under Section 20-4 that it doesn't have to follow legal precedents, which we were told by Teresa Manette that it absolutely had to follow strict legal precedents. No matter how much unfair results we continued to discuss and beg and plead to be heard, Teresa Manette did not do anything to help us. She told us that it had to go through a review board. No, it doesn't. There's a section of that legislation that says that as soon as they have new information, they have to look at it and they have 10 days under their policy to address that information in a professional and direct way. We have never had any direct communication regarding the unfair results. We have never had any direct communication until we brought it up about an early and safe return to work with Workplace NL. There's many, many issues, and your office of the workers advisors failed us. And then, because we said that you guys were failing us, you failed us even further because you cut off ties altogether instead of making it right, and that is completely unprofessional. We should have been given mediation and a meeting between Workplace NL staff members like Charmaine Janes and Melissa Burry, where we could sit down and discuss all of this like professional adults who are.
You have reached the maximum time permitted for your recording. If you are satisfied with your message, press 1. To listen to your message, press 2. To erase and re-record, press 3. To send your message with normal delivery, press 1. To send your message with urgent delivery, press 2. Thank you. Your message has been sent. To disconnect, press 1. To enter another